Ooh, 1 o'clock. We're gonna go recording the big dog today. Woo woo. If I showed you 2 horses and asked which one was an ideal body condition, could you confidently tell me? And I think more importantly, could you explain why? Welcome back to Nutrition Tuesday, guys, with your host, Victoria at Iron Peak Farm. Today, we're going to continue our BCS Basics series, and we're breaking down what those numbers 1 to 9 actually mean. In part 1, we learned that body condition scoring, or BCS, is a standardized method used to evaluate the amount of body fat a horse is overall carrying. And remember, we're not simply looking at how much a horse weighs, we're evaluating the overall body condition. So today we're going to put the numbers to that assessment. The commonly used Henneke body condition scoring system assigns horses as a score from 1 through 9. At one end, a score of 1 represents an extremely emaciated horse. At the other end, a score of 9 represents extreme fat accumulation. But here's what's important. These aren't simply labels like skinny, normal, or overweight. Each score represents specific characteristics that we can observe and palpate on the horse. Let's start with scores 1 through 3. These scores represent increasing degrees of thinness. At a body condition score of 1, the horse is extremely emaciated with very little fatty tissue present and prominent skeletal structures. As we move through scores 2 and 3, we begin to see increasing tissue coverage, but the horse remains thin. And here's an important nutrition point. If a horse is unexpectedly losing condition or is extremely thin, the answer isn't to feed more grain. We first need to understand why that horse is thin. Could it be dental problems, inadequate forage intake, parasites, disease, workload, age, and many other factors can influence the body condition. Significant or unexplained weight loss should be evaluated with your veterinarian. Next, we move into scores 4 through 6. A body condition score of 4 is considered moderately thin. A score of 5 is considered moderate and is commonly used as a target for many healthy horses. So at a body condition score of 5, the ribs generally aren't visually obvious, but they should still be relatively easy to feel. The back appears relatively level, and the areas around the withers, shoulders, neck, and tail head should blend fairly smoothly. As we move to 6, we're beginning to see more fat deposition. Additional fat may become noticeable or papal over the ribs, behind the shoulder, along the neck, or around the tail head. But I want to be careful with something you'll hear a lot. A body condition of 5 does not automatically mean perfect horse. We need to interpret that score in a context of an individual horse. So including things like age, breed, workload, reproductive status, and overall health. Scores 7 through 9 represent progressively greater fat accumulation. As the score increases, fat becomes increasingly noticeable or palpable over areas such as the ribs, behind the shoulders, along the neck, and around the tail head. At the highest end of the scale, we're looking at substantial fat accumulation. Maintaining an appropriate body condition isn't simply about how a horse looks. Body condition is an important part of overall nutritional and health management. Now, here's probably the biggest thing I want you to take away from today's lesson. You cannot accurately body condition a horse from a photograph alone. You need both your eyes and your hands. A thick winter coat can hide the ribs, conformation can change how a horse appears, and muscle development can influence what you are seeing. That's why proper body condition scoring includes both a visual assessment and palpation. Body condition scoring evaluates 6 primary areas of the horse: the neck, the withers, behind the shoulder, the ribs, the loin, and the tail head. These areas give us information about how much fat the horse is carrying and where that fat is being deposited. So when you see pictures online asking, what BCS is this horse? Remember, a photograph can help us discuss body condition, but it can't completely replace a hands-on assessment. There's one more distinction I want you to know. So body condition score evaluates overall fat deposition, but horses can also carry regional fat deposits, and this particularly happens along the neck. Regional fat deposits can provide additional information that isn't completely captured by an overall body condition score. That's where you may hear another term called Cresty Neck Score. Body condition score and Cresty Neck Score aren't the same thing. So we'll have to save that topic for another Nutrition Tuesday. The important thing to remember is that body condition score exists on a continuum. We're not simply placing horses into 3 categories of the thin, ideal, or overweight. We're systematically evaluating changes in fat deposition across the horse's body. And while a score around 5 is commonly appropriate for many healthy adult horses, body condition score should always be interpreted in the context of the individual horse. So when someone says, my horse is a BCS 5, that number should mean more than simply my horse looks about right. It should represent a systematic assessment using standardized criteria and evaluating specific areas of that horse. Now that you understand what the numbers mean, we're ready to take the next step. So in BCS Basics Part 3, we're going to break down the 6 areas of the horse used in the body condition scoring: the neck, withers, behind the shoulder, ribs, loin, and tail head. And I'll explain exactly what we're evaluating in each area. So before you go, I have some homework, if you will. The next time you're with your horse, don't just stand back and look at them. Run your hands gently over their ribs and pay attention to what you actually feel. And please, by all means, don't change their diet based on today's video. Just observe. Were the ribs easier or harder to feel? Are they what you expected? And let me know in the comments. I'm Victoria with Iron Peak Farm. Knowledge builds healthier horses, and I'll see you guys for the next one. And as always, if you'd like to dig a little bit deeper into today's topic, I've included the research and educational resources used for today's video/lesson. It will be in the video description below. Lord, is this truck all messy for today's video. Can't tell, we all our feeds, pine shavings, gotta love it.